the Davey Dave's Take. Today we're talking about The Phoenician Scheme, the latest film from Wes Anderson. So The Phoenician Scheme is what I just said, the newest Wes Anderson film. I won't say what the plot's really about because I had no idea what the plot was about. I don't think I watched a trailer or anything. I just knew I was going into a Wes Anderson movie and I'd probably have a nice, pleasant time. I really love Wes Anderson. I just love his style, but I will say there hasn't been like a spectacular Wes Anderson movie in a while. I think the last one, honestly, was probably the Grand Budapest Hotel, and I really still loved Isle of Dogs. And it's funny I say that because movies like The French Dispatch and Asteroid City, even though they're probably some of his worst movies, I still consider them better than most of the shit we see today. So of course I was excited for The Phoenician Scheme. It's a new Wes Anderson movie with a giant cast. Worst comes to worst, I spent my 100 minutes watching these actors just act really goofy. I am disappointed to say, though, that The Phoenician Scheme doesn't come close to some of Wes Anderson's best movies, but I do think this is his best film since Isle of Dogs. This film has everything you'd come to expect in a Wes Anderson movie. These beautiful, colorful, symmetrical shots. He has the style that only he can do. Like, if anyone else tries to mimic it, it's just gonna look like shit. He gets these wonderful performances from these A-list actors that you can tell they love being there. They're excited to be in a Wes Anderson movie because they get to act so ridiculous. They get to act so goofy. The reason why I really like The Phoenician Scheme compared to some of his other latest films is the story overall, I felt like had more direction. Like, some of Wes Anderson's best movies, there isn't a linear or cinematic plot to them, but I think the biggest problem with The French Dispatch and Asteroid City is it doesn't have that cinematic plot, but it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, it goes some places, but there's no real reward for what it's trying to say. I think this movie felt more stripped back, more simple. The plot, yeah, there's parts of it that come off as a little confusing because of that dialogue. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But overall, you understand the goal of the movie, you understand what the characters are trying to do, and I think it just made the experience a lot more fun. The humor here is so funny, it's whimsical, it's dry, it's goofy, there's slapstick, and the performances are all amazing. I really love Benicio del Toro here. I just love him as an actor, but him in a Wes Anderson movie, being like the main guy, I know he's been in other Wes Anderson movies, but like being the main actor in it was so much fun. He kills it as the lead. But I think my favorite performance in this movie was Michael Cera. He plays like two different characters, and I think he absolutely fucking crushes it. What I really loved about the story and plot is that there's some real development here with our characters. There's some heartwarming moments. You understand where characters are at. So when they do things towards the end of the film, it's warranted. It's totally in character, and it's good to see a character have real development. Some films just fall flat on their face when they try to do that, and that's not the case here. There's some amazing Wes Anderson shots here. There are some amazing bits. All of that really works, and I think if you're a big Wes Anderson fan, you're not going to be disappointed in this. But I will say, when we look back on the career of Wes Anderson, this is definitely probably on the lower side of his movies. It definitely is. And it's one of his more forgettable movies. And that kind of has to do with my bigger issues with his last two films, and with this too. It's almost like he's become like a parody of himself. Like, he knows his style is so goofy, and he almost leans into that more. Where I feel like movies like The Grand Budapest Hotel, or Moonrise Kingdom, Fantastic Mr. Fox, where I think he struck this perfect balance of that. And with his latest films like The French Dispatch, Asteroid City, The Phoenician Scheme, it almost feels like he leans into that goofiness and that style too much, where sometimes it can be a little distracting. And honestly, it doesn't have to really do with the visuals. Like, I love all the visuals of this movie. I love all the visuals in almost all his films. I think it has to do with the dialogue sometimes. There are parts where characters are saying certain things that I know are probably funny, but it's sometimes hard to really understand because it almost comes off as so whimsical and goofy, but also at the same time, there are certain plot points that are trying to be explained, and that can be an issue when it comes to following the plot here. It is easy to follow overall. Like, I never was lost of like the overall objective, but there's certain details that happen throughout the film to accelerate the plot and certain plot points where I'm like, wait, what did he say? I didn't understand what he just said. So maybe on like second viewing, I'll appreciate this film more. But I've noticed that's been kind of the issue on some of his latest films. But I gotta say, kind of what I said before, this film is still better than most of the shit we get today. It's refreshing to see a director like this pump out an original movie that is being distributed throughout theaters. Like, I encourage people to go see the movie just on that front. But I do think if you're just a fan of films in general, it's definitely worth seeing. It's a fun, goofy 100 minutes that I don't think wastes your time at all. If you're a huge Wes Anderson fan, you'll definitely enjoy this. It's definitely worth checking out. I just would maybe manage your expectations, because this is definitely his best movie since Isle of Dogs. But when we look back on the great career of Wes Anderson, whenever he retires, I have a feeling this will be one of his films that is definitely lower on like his list when it comes to like ranking his movies. And it's one of the films that honestly will probably be forgotten about. I'm going to give The Phoenician Scheme 7.5 Davey Daves. I never really looked into the box office numbers when his films come out, because I know he has a big following. Everyone talks about Wes Anderson. Everyone knows who Wes Anderson is. But I'm curious to see the returns on some of his movies, especially his movies now, because it seems like he's been pumping out a lot. So, The Phoenician Scheme. Let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more Davey Dave Steaks.